of helicopter parents, drill sergeant parents, and consultants. And that helicopter parent is the heart parent. They're driven by their heart. They love their kids so much. You just do not want to see them struggle. That taken to an extreme is never good for anybody. Mm-hmm. Number two, the drill sergeant is the gut parent. We're going to do it, we're going to do it, now we're going to get it right, and they're all about moving through life and being pretty precise. What I want to do is I want to take my gut and my heart and channel it through my brain and become a consultant. Mm-hmm. Consultants ask a lot of questions. If you hire a consultant to come into your home or into your business, they don't come in, look around and say, well, you should do this, this, and this. They'll say, well, let's talk about, well, this is what I've seen. Here are some options for you. What do you think would work for you? Because bottom line, you're the one living with it. So who makes it? We used to say the best solution for any problem lies within the skin of the person who owns the problem. And probably one of the biggest issues for parents that wears them out and drains them is when I make their problem my problem. I put a solution to it, and maybe it would work, but when I tell them it, they automatically, there's that resistance. And so I want to encourage the thinking mode, that muscle in their brain that forces them to have to think. And you can use this. I'll tell you a cute little story. We lived in our guidance office with this all the time. And Mapledale, Indian Hill, it was K4 through 3rd grade in one building, and then 4th through 8th in the next building. And the guidance counselor in the K4 through 3 had some, I don't know, they were probably kindergartners or 1st graders down doing a little friendship group in her office. And while they were doing it, they were playing with Play-Doh. And one of the kids, the Play-Doh the expectation was keep it on top of the table. There's another E. Play-Doh in my office stays on top of the table. And one little boy, while he was sitting there, put it in the treads of his tennis shoe. What a cool thing to do. And so when they left, Shannon looked down and there was Play-Doh all over her carpeting in her office. And so she knew what little person was sitting there. And she got up and she went to him and she said, oh, I don't know what his name was. Let's say it's Michael. Oh, Michael, come with me to my office. We have a little issue. And she showed him and she said, what was the rule? What did Miss Davis say to you? On the table. Yeah. Where did yours end up? In the treads of my shoes. And now she's looking, the shoes still there. So now it's going to be everywhere. And she said, well, this does not work in my office. And since you are the one that did this, you need to figure it out. What do you think you can do about that? And his little eyes were big and you could see the sense of panic coming. And he said, I don't know. She said, well, would you like some ideas? And he said, sure. She said, well, some kids just have to replace the carpeting in the room. How would that work for you? And his eyes are batting. He goes, how do you do that? She goes, well, we can talk about that if that's what you decide to do. Some kids go to the janitor and ask him if he will help them get it cleaned up. How would that work? Where's the janitor? And so he picked that and she said, you want to try that? And he said, I think so. And she said, well, good luck. Let's walk down there. And she had already spoken to the janitor and said, this little one's probably going to be coming to you. And the janitor said, oh, I've got a way to sweep it up and then we'll vacuum it. And then tomorrow you come in and anything that's dried up in there we'll try again. And if that's not all gone, then I have some other ideas. So that little boy worked with that janitor. When he was all done, it was pretty much cleaned up. And he was so proud of himself. And she said, wow, nice job, Michael. See you next week at group. I'm wondering, do you think the Play-Doh will stay on the table? See ya. And off he goes. Now, that little boy has lived through an experience, a little scary for a 1st grader, and everybody loved Miss Davis in that school. So it was like, oh, I messed up for Miss Davis. That was a big deal. But you see how even itty-bitty ones can take that whole process. And once you start doing it, you'll do it all the time. So what I'd like to do now is go to page 45, and let's just start reading. And Sarah, would you mind starting and just read a paragraph, and then Alexander, do you need a...
Yeah, because Chris is gone.
Okay.
I had to see.
Oh, well, you're in charge.
She takes care of me.
Okay. Bless her heart. That's such a big job.
So you can share
Did I
with
say
that.
that? I did.
Get out
Oh
my-
my gosh. I thought I had
excuses. Where's your
I think you guys have my extra.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Probably.
Rebecca left
Sorry.
it here.
Probably
last
right
week.
here.
Right here.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to, Sarah,
gonna
all
share
right,
with,
they're very
if you-
good, very good.
Okay.
Sarah?
Brian,
What,
yeah.
That's not fair.
what a bummer, what do you think you're gonna do about that?
Would you have more energy at the end of each day if you weren't getting pulled into every problem your children encountered? Would you feel pretty fortunate if you found a skill that allowed you to take good care of yourself while helping your kids develop personal responsibility and great problem-solving skills?
The next time one of your children tosses you a problem, experiment with these following steps.
Step one, provide a
Way to sneak in there, buddy. Way to sneak in there.
whole sentence.
Well, you have to take step one.
Step one, provide a strong,
Glass of wine, you sure? Yeah.
strong and sincere dose of empathy. When you hear, he's messing with my stuff, he won't leave me alone, or this project is due tomorrow, or my coach won't listen, or I can't find my blank, or any other problem, resist the urge to whip out the duct tape with a quick fix solution. Instead, deliver a grand dollop of empathy. This might sound like, oh, that's gotta be so upsetting, or dang, I bet that's frustrating, or I love you, that is so sad. Remember, empathy opens the mind to thinking and problem solving.
Okay, I wanna draw your attention to a little phrase in there that she read, whip out the duct tape with a quick fix solution. See, I think we're busy, our lives are hectic, you and I were just talking about it, it's frenetic, and the end of the school year and the starting of the school year. It's crazy. And so what we do is, I'm gonna do it, I'll take care of it, I'll just, because they're, oh, thank you, sweetheart. Because it's such a sense of, I'm gonna get this done. And I just can't tell you how much I want you to really resist that. And some days you have to. I'm not saying forever and always, but whenever possible, even if you say, oh man, you're gonna have to take care of that, but not right now, we gotta get off to baseball practice. We'll talk later. Now you've got a chance to think through it, but try to make the time for them to own it. Don't rush to that fast-paced thing. That's the easy thing to do. So, okay, Brian.
Step 2, lovingly hand the problem back. Experiment with asking, what do you think you're going to do? Or what do you think you are going to do, man? Don't be too surprised if they stare at their shoes, shrug their shoulders, and mumble, ooh.
Yeah. I want you to remember, for a kid to get smart, a parent has to be willing to look dumb. So when they say, I don't know, go, I don't know either. Instead of spouting, which we want to do, we want to look like we, don't worry, you have a wonderful parent. I can tell you what to do, and then you won't have to think for yourself, okay? We don't want that. There's something else I was going to tell you too.
What if I don't know is not an answer you'll accept?
I don't know. Well, now wait a minute.
Because I don't know generally means I don't want to say.
Well,
Wait, which way? The kid or you?
if the kid says that, well,
I won't
here,
accept that from any one of our children.
You know
I
what?
don't know means you don't want to tell me or you don't.
But
you
now
that's where
you
put
get
it
your
back.
choices. Now
Now
you get
you
your
offer them
choices.
the choices.
But wait, I think I don't know is basically.
Yeah.
It's just a time to let me think. I don't know.
well,
I mean,
if-
honestly.
And then you give it right back.
Yeah.
I don't know either. What are you gonna
What are
do?
you gonna
Or
do?
that's the answer that you get when you're like, well, what happened here?
I
And
don't
someone's
know.
afraid to fess up because they're gonna get.
well,
avoided.
there's a person who's invisible in every home, and that
Yeah.
person's name is, I don't know.
Good.
They
Then
live-
I don't know sits in their room and they can go sit with them until they figure it out.
Okay, now Jason. That's right.
They can
But
talk
now-
together.
All right, but now Jason, if we pull back from this and we look at a bigger picture, very often in a circumstance like this when they have a problem, have you never ever had a problem that you weren't quite sure how to handle?
I never said I don't know. I said I'll figure it out.
Okay,
I'll be right
okay.
back. I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay, and I want you to train your kids to get to that. And so one way is to say, well, I don't know, doesn't work for me. Do you think that encourages their thinking or might stifle it? Because, oh my gosh, now I have to come up with an idea. And you don't even have to answer that, just
Well,
kind of,
understand. My hope is that hearing that enough, it's gonna be okay. When this problem surfaces immediately, I'm going to have an answer for him because he's not gonna accept that.
right, okay, well, just bear with me here. So
Yeah, because
now,
what we'll do, we'll talk a little bit more
Yeah.
because her time limit is 6:30, so I want
Yeah.
to make sure she gets all
We're
her
gonna be
material
okay.
done.
We're gonna be
I
okay.
just wanna
We're
make
doing
sure you
really
get
good.
material.
But okay, so now I've got a kid and I say, what do you wanna do? Honestly, I almost want him to say, I don't know. I don't know. That's an okay thing. Because if I'm really a good consultant, my training in so many words will be, well, how sad. You can come up with ideas or I will. See, I'm saying exactly the same thing you're saying, but my words tend to draw them a little bit more into frontal lobe than sending them back being, I mean, I love your passion for this. And when I am alone with them, I'll say, remember today when you had that problem? I need you to know how I am. That I don't know is not an option. So for me, now I'm saying it in a time when there's not pressure, when the deal about having made a mistake isn't weighing heavy on their hearts, because they're just kids. And then I will say, this is how I think about it. I'll come up with something. Maybe not right away. And really how we talked about it today, buddy, you got a plan. If it works, great. If it doesn't, guess what? To the drawing board and follow that same plan. Now you're giving him training that will carry him through, and when something goes wrong, instead of going, I have to know what to do, he'll say, hey Dad, I got this issue. Can you brainstorm with me a little bit here? Now he's not saying I don't know what to do, he's saying I have a consultant that I can consult. And that's what I want him to know. He may not always come to you, but I want him to know that he always can. And then if he doesn't go to you, there are other places to go. And maybe if he's just quiet, he'll come up with his own. I'm just putting a procedure in place.
Fair enough. I just don't, I guess part of it is you're preparing them not to have those deer in headlight moments.
Right.
Where no matter what, even when the pressure's on, that's when everyone else is losing their wits. You have to have yours.
Exactly. And to me, that's bigger than, don't tell me you don't know. That's not acceptable. I want to say to him in a loving time, you know what, that was never acceptable for me. That's why I want to train you. Mom and I want to train you so that you will always be able to think. Because truthfully, that gal whose brother committed suicide, if he had now it could be mental illness, I'm not going there with that, but if it was just how many kids commit suicide because no one's ever trained them, that the answer lies within them. My husband always said, you make your best decision. If it's not the right decision, you get to make another one. But we have to train our kids in that. And if we're so moving quickly through life that we don't, they won't have it. Well, Dad's not around to talk. I can't reach him. I can't. So I don't know. I guess I won't solve it. I want my kids to say, I've got an answer in here. Just don't know where. But we've practiced over and over and over in my house. I know what to do. And when I do reach Mom or Dad, we'll chat about it. I've created that consultant mindset. So, do you see, because I want you to let your kids know, although that you probably don't even need to tell them this. I don't know isn't an option for Dad. They already know that.
That's what Mom's for.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, onward here. Okay, so number 3, it's all you. It's Jenny, right?
Yeah,
All right, Jenny.
get permission before sharing ideas.
Here we go.
The odds of success go way up when we ask. Would you like to hear what some other kids have tried before giving suggestions? Notice the word in here. Don't ask, would you like to hear what you could do? Don't ask, what would you like to hear?
Would you like to hear?
Would you like to hear what you should do? Instead ask, would you like to hear what some other kids have tried? When we say you should or you could, we automatically increase resistance. When we say what some other kids have tried, we reduce resistance. Wise parents still prepare themselves for the possibility of hearing, no, I don't want to hear what other kids have tried. When this happens, they reply, let me know if you change your mind. I hope it all works out.
That's right. And we had kids, right, we were 4th through 8th grade, 6th, 7th, oh Lord, they always had issues. I forgot my music. I forgot. What do you want to do about that? That is really, you get abandoned. Call my mom. You get to solve it any way you want, so long as it doesn't create a problem for anyone else in the known universe. Might be a problem for Mom. What do you think? What else could you try? And so, and they'd go, and we'd give them options. I don't know. I can't do any of that. Well, good luck. Now, if they go out and solve it, we'll never hear from them. They don't. They'll be back. That's what we found.
Around her lunch?
Yeah, I know.
Uh-huh. And I didn't rescue her.
Good.
Yeah, 'cause you did text me or call me or something and said, what do I do?
She called me as soon as she got to school and said, Mom, I left my lunch in the garage. I said, you were playing before you left for school, didn't you? Yeah. Are you supposed to play before you go to school?
Lots of
No.
questions. Yay.
I guess that's why you forgot your lunch. Yeah. I said, okay, then you get a bistro box today, because she has hot lunch
Yeah,
now. She
yeah.
can get a hot lunch. It was just she didn't like the choices.
Hope
So
it's
that's
not
all.
spinach and
That's what you gotta
sauerkraut in
do.
there. Oh, that's good.
And
Very
so they
good.
gave 'em an A.
And you know what you did, Jenny, in there that I really liked was you asked her a bunch of questions first. Remember, God comes into the garden? First of all, he waited. Secondly, he came in and fired 4 questions off. Didn't take their answers, just asked one more question and one more question.
Yeah.
Very
It
good.
was just,
Okay.
I love you, I'll see you after
Yeah.
school.
Can't wait to hear what you have for lunch. See how this one's fun in your parenting? Jenny, finish that last paragraph if you would,
The
please.
effectiveness of this approach doesn't depend on our children listening intently to our awesome wisdom. It hinges on our ability to empathetically hand the problem back and express our loving desire to help them explore some solutions.
That's right. Okay, Jason, it's your turn, bud.
Provide a brief menu of ideas and help them evaluate each one. Do that one. When our children are interested in hearing what some other kids have tried, we have the green light to use the following language. Some kids decide to blank. How would that work for you?
That's the formula. That's part of that formula. Some kids try this, how would that work? That's cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. You just can't do that enough. Because when they leave, they'll go, I don't even know how to think about solving a problem any other way. If I do this, this will happen. Wow. That's what I want you thinking when some stupid 16-year-old says, get in my car. I've got beer in here. Yeah, probably won't work so well for me. Keep going there, buddy.
Notice how we cut down on resistance by saying some kids decide to blank and how we help them evaluate possible consequences by asking, how would that work for you? Don't fall into the trap of thinking that you need to have a large list of brilliant solutions. Just 1 or 2 mediocre ones will often do. The success of this step doesn't rest on whether our ideas are exceptional. It simply rests on us prompting them to begin thinking about possible solutions and their likely consequences. Note, it is usually wise to start with a rather lousy suggestion. This gets their cause-effect neurons firing when they react with that won't work. There's an added benefit. Children tend to reject the first thing we offer, so don't waste something intelligent.
Okay.
I was going to say when he was saying that too though, if you start with something stupid, everything else is going to look better after that. Even if they are listening, the first one's like, okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. No, okay, all these ones sound good.
Yeah, it's very true, but you know what, but that's thinking that's coming from them. And remember we said in Proverbs that it said, the wise parent, well, it doesn't say parent in there, but the wise in heart are discerning. That means I think before I speak. In other words, when I choose to do that, I have a reason for it. You just said the reason. That's my reason. I could tell you what I think you should do. As a matter of fact, I really want to. But I'm going to be discerning and wise. And the discerning parent is willing to look down so their kid can get smart. That's kind of where you stay. Hi there, cutie. Glad you're here. All right. Next. Well, let's go over here and we'll pick up Mike and Todd, or CJ and Mike in a minute. It's Noel, right?
Yep.
Oh, yay. By next week I'll remember you all and then I'll forget again. Number 5 here.
Step 5, allow them to learn from solving or not solving the problem. After sharing some ideas, end by saying, I love you. If any kid can solve a problem like this, you can. Let me know how it works out. Resist the urge to tell your child which solution to try. When we make this mistake, we steal learning when the ideas they choose fails. We also steal learning and self-esteem when the idea they choose succeeds. Instead, give them the full gift of problem solving by allowing them to choose. Parents who apply these 5 steps soon find out that they have less stress and more responsible kids. They also discover that these steps work great with adults too.
Very cool. I want to tell you just about a kid that we had in, he was an 8th grader, and he was really a good kid. He and his twin brother, Jarvis was huge. His little brother, can't remember his name right now, same age, teeny tiny, obviously not identical twins. And right behind them 1 year later was a sister. And those kids came from the city. I loved him. And Jarvis he was a great leader. And towards the end of 8th grade, his teachers came down and said, we're a little worried about him. He seems really distracted and I don't know, we're just a little worried and he's doing all right, but something's going on. So I went up and I asked him, he was taking a test. I said, do you wanna come down and come down and visit with me? And he said, I have to finish this test. I said, well, you have a choice. You can finish it here, or your teacher said you can take it down and finish it in my office. What would be best for you? There's your choice. And Jarvis said, I'm gonna stay up here, and as soon as I'm done, I'll be down. I said, okay, here's the pass. Your teacher knows. Turn the test in and just come on down. And so he came down, and I was sitting at my table, and so he sat in my desk chair, and I said, so you have teachers that love you and are concerned about you. Tell me what's going on. That kid unloaded so much, and it became really clear and the biggest thing on his plate, well, or two really big things. He'd been fooling around. He came out of a class. The kid ahead of him, who ended up going to St. John's like about a week later.
Military school?
Yes. He'd had all sorts of issues, and this was kind of like was the second to the last thing that mooning someone in the hall was the thing that really got him to leave. But this, it's not encouraged.
What year was this?
He was an 8th grader.
What year?
Oh gosh, probably 12, 14 years ago, 16 years ago.
1982.
Jason, is it you?
No, I'm trying to think about what school he came.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, so he came out and he grabbed a guy around the counter, around the neck, and they were just fooling around. But where the 7th and 8th grade are, they're 3 steps down. And this kid, and then out comes Jarvis, and he kind of grabbed Jarvis at the same time, and they all tumbled down. And the kid that was hurt felt that both those kids had hurt him. So we had a brand new principal. She wanted to show her muster, so she calls the police. They handcuff those 2 kids and take them out the door, and they're both given tickets. Now, Jarvis had been a leader in our school from 4th grade. I mean, I love this kid. And he had just some great things put together, this big multicultural meal for lunch, and he's all by himself. And so he had that, and so he's telling me about that. He said, I have to go to court for that. Now the other kid, his parents paid the ticket. And so there was nothing. But this kid had to face going to court, and he said, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And now all the other parents know that I was part of that, and I used to be invited over to kids' houses, and now they think I'm a troublemaker, and I went, oh my gosh. And then he said, the other one was that his mom, who was a drug addict, had been clean, had relapsed. And he said, we don't know where she is. And I'm like, wow. And no, was there anything I could do for him? But we looked one at a time at each of the circumstances, and he'd forgotten he didn't want to go to the big band thing at Nicolay High School. He just wasn't feeling up to it. And I said, well, I can understand. And I don't know how to tell my teacher who's going in there. I went, well, let's start with your first thing. What do you think you can do about this? Right? I don't even know. And he said, I have no idea, Mrs. Olson. He said, my grandfather can't get me down there. We don't even know who to talk to. And I said, we're out here. Let's call the Bayside Police Department. Let's see what they have to say about this. And so we called. We found out about the court date. We found out who we could talk to. And he did all the talking sitting at my desk. And he said, okay, I think I know what's going to happen. I think I know what I can do. And it turned out that everything was dropped for that kid. I don't know how, I don't know what, but it was as it should have been, because he was totally an innocent bystander. Secondly, he said, I don't know what to do about my mom. And I said, you know what? Let's go. I have resources. Let's write down some of the places, if you get a hold of your mom, that she can go for help. That's all we needed to know, is that there was some place for her. And I to this day, I don't know how that ever worked out. And I said, and now, what about band? I said, I think you have, with all that's on your plate, the right not to go. How do you want to let your band teacher know? Well, I don't know. I said, well, some kids would just go up to him in the hall. I'd give them a pass and they'd go up to him. How would that work? Oh, I hate to see it. I said, some people write a note and put it in his mailbox. How would that work? Well, I guess I could do that. Some people catch him at lunch hour when he's more relaxed and not in between classes. How would that work? Okay. And they said, but I'm supposed to go home with so-and-so and then go there. And I said, so you need to tell him. At any rate, we didn't change anything. I said, do you have any idea what you're going to do about this? He said, I do. He ended up going to the band concert because he was so relieved. He had something, just something in his head. So when I tell you that there's a great deal of power for this, here was a kid talk about some issues on his plate. And he went and that just totally turned him around. Even his teacher said, "What was that all about?" And I went, "You can ask him if he wants to tell you, but I think you just count on it that he's doing better." You see the power of owning that problem? And even if none of those work out, at least he had some options. People just want to know there's some hope out there. So that's what this problem, this approach is all about. I want to give that kid some hope. Love that boy. I'd love to know what happened to him. Okay, let me see. They have another one here, and I'm going to let you guys work on this when I leave. They give you the problem, they're calling me names.
I think that might be worthwhile if you could do it with us,
Yeah, I was
because
just
I
gonna,
think all of us have that.
all right.
Because she calls me names all the time.
Okay. Wow.
At least
Well,
I call you
could
the right name.
Yeah. That was, I love this group, I just love it. Best entertainment around. Okay, all right, well, let's do this, and actually, you're right, there's enough stuff going here. So, do you wanna be my guy? Now, you can't be goofy with me. If I give you the, shaking finger, you've got it.
Keep it G-rated.
Yeah, G-rated, that's right. Well, just kind of work with me. Don't be an adult being a kid, be a kid.
Okay.
Okay, so your kid comes home and says, they're calling me names at school, or they're making fun of what I wear, and they're upset. That would be upsetting to them, right? Okay, and then I'm going to share this little book with you and tell you about it. So, can you be that kid?
Do you want me to be the
I
one
want you to be the kid, and I'm going to be the parent.
Okay.
Okay? Now, before we jump in here, what's one thing we want to do? Know for sure. As much as possible, I want to hand the problem to my kid, and I want to encourage them to try and resolve this on their own in the most peaceful way possible. And so if I give them an opportunity and they're working at it and it's escalating or it's just really not working, I will get involved.